Hi there, my name is Daniel Meyer. I work at Christ Memorial Lutheran Church. One of the four churches is part of the Green Park Association. I am the Director of Christian Education and serve as the Youth Director at Christ Memorial. I've been teaching the sex ed for the boys for 5th grade for several years now. I misremember, but it's probably going on 6, 7, or maybe even 8 years. And it's been a great opportunity, not something that maybe a lot of people are willing or running to go do, but I look forward each year to try to impart Christian biblical information to our boys as they learn and grow and understand more about who God's made them to be. And so I thought I'd put together this quick video just to kind of walk you through as a parent or a guardian, what do we do, what do I talk about, how do things work with this with these 3 sessions. And so we take the religion time on a Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, which is usually about 30 minutes or so, maybe 40 minutes, and we walk through a few different things. On Monday, the first thing that we really focus on is the concept that who does God say that we are? And so we go back to God's Word, to Scripture, to Genesis, and we focus on what does the Bible say about who God has created us to be. Then from there, what I talk about is what do they want in life? And I really want them to start to kind of have a vision. And what do they think they're going to be when they're 25, when they're 30, 40, maybe older? And the thought is maybe they start to think about what kind of career they have. Maybe they consider, are they married? Are they not married? Do they have kids? What hopes and dreams do they have? And that provides us a framework to work backwards from. Also on Monday, I set out some ground rules for the week. I really actually start with this because it's just really imperative that we all get on the same page. I have some handouts for each day, and so I include them on each one. But I have like 4 rules that I say. I say, number 1, that our sexuality is a gift from God, and so let's treat it with care and respect. I say that I'm here to teach and help them know more about the subject matter. I kind of remind them that I just volunteer my time to do this. I'm knowledgeable on the topic, and that I'm here to help them. Number 3, I really try to hit home that can we be mature and respectful? Each class is a little different that we have each year, but obviously there's some giggles and there's some laughter, and we try to get beyond that we can kind of discuss this as young, maturing, the kind of preteen, maybe even young adult kind of mindset. And then I really encourage them that what we say in the room stays in the room. That you can talk about stuff with your parents, but if somebody shares something, we don't want to go back and say, I can't believe what so-and-so said at recess, or I'm going to go tell the girls this, or in the class, or I'm going to make sure my parents know that, no, this really just focuses on them and their relationship with their parent, and if something, personal is shared, that we keep that there. Another thing that I do throughout the week, and really starts to happen on the second day, is I give out note cards. If they want to write a question down, obviously they can ask questions at any time during the 3 sessions. But if they would want to write a question down that maybe they're not embarrassed or whatever, to ask, that they could do that, and then we discuss and talk about that. I will admit, the more questions we have, usually the better things go. It allows for some personal connection and framework to what we talk about. But then also in day 2, I didn't say already, but we use a curriculum from Concordia Publishing House, which is the publishing company for the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, our Lutheran denomination. And your child will be getting a book, and I'm going to give them little homework assignments each week, just to read, each night, to read through the book. The book is not super hard to read through. There's a lot of pictures and things like that, and so it's not this hard, detailed 800-page novel that is hard to read, but rather it's an opportunity between what I talk about in class. Then on Tuesday we watch the DVD in the second session, and that really explains some of the nuts and bolts and some of the biology, as well as the book does as well. But then also really talks about being, they use kind of an expression called being a God's guy. And that's something we kind of talk about, is how can we be glorifying God and being a male and being created by Him. Then in the last session, we also then have them think about just what are really the differences between being a man and being a woman, and then how do we treat each other with respect, and how do we show care to one another, and what are some of the changes that we've learned and then go through. Then I give them assignment on the last day to write just like a paragraph or so about who they think they'll be then when they're 25 or 30 years of age, and have them write out, okay, what kind of job, what kind of family, how are you going to live, what are you going to do? They always like to think about what kind of car they're going to drive. But I think that's a great framework to then really encourage them to work backwards from then, because hey, if I want to be successful and have a career, have a godly marriage, and these kind of things, then I need to make certain choices in my life. Part of that will be the choices that I make sexually. And I also encourage them that it's not just about choices, but it's really the beliefs you have. The beliefs you have really impact those decisions. And so if I believe and really want to be this maybe godly man that still prays and stuff when I'm 30, that I need to make choices and I need to have beliefs that then help fuel that as I go on through the years. Throughout the process, I talk about my wife Beth and I's marriage and how we met each other and at college, and the process that we went through up into getting married, and I share some other stories in there too that I think help provide some real life just kind of context and framework. And so the 3 days go super fast. Like I said, they'll have the assignments to read. They'll have some handout sheets. I really ask you as a parent though, and a guardian, could you talk with your child about what sex is before the first class? I understand that it's difficult to do this. You should try talking to fifth grade boys, a group of them, multiple years in a row about this topic. And so I don't want to take anything away as a parent. If I can be a resource to you as you maybe before you have that conversation, I don't think you need to explain everything. But I know over the years, different things have come up. There was a billboard on 55 about a year ago that said something about abortion, and my son asked about abortion. And so we kind of explained a few things, and I had to kind of pump the brakes because I'm probably more comfortable sharing about stuff than maybe he's ready for when he was in fourth grade at the time. But I really think this is a dialogue. As I've talked to some of the parents after this class too, and when they're in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, is this needs to be an ongoing discussion. That this is a lot, there's a lot going on here. Yes, there's the biology. Yes, there's about respect and how you treat one another. Then there's things like dances and dates and how we treat each other on social media and with our phones and sexting and pornography. There's just so much stuff that we can't cover just in 3 days. We try to do our best to address these things, but this is where you, as this parent, this guardian, can make an impact with your child and have this ongoing dialogue. And maybe you just say, hey, on next Tuesday night, I want to talk to you for a few minutes about this. And maybe you go somewhere private and that you can do this, or you go somewhere that you can have this conversation. I think your child will value it in the long run. They may not in the moment. It's going to be uncomfortable for both of you. That's how this goes. But I think there's a lot going on there. I would also encourage too to the moms out there, especially with these boys. I don't think you have to explain everything, but maybe really explain what it's like to be a female, and maybe some of that could include just talking about some of the differences. Maybe possibly even between you and your husband, how you think and process information, how you handle things. But I think too, your boys would really benefit from hearing how emotions are maybe different and feelings are different from a female from your perspective. And then I would also encourage maybe sharing, in some terms, probably more basic than more descriptive, but menstrual cycle and some of that stuff, because I think there's a lot of things that kids don't know. And so I think that's helpful too. I know these conversations again aren't easy, but I think if done okay, and finding a time and setting it aside and not just catching them real quick in the car after baseball practice on the way to soccer or whatever, or homework, or in the middle of everything for 3 minutes, that's probably not the best way to do it. But again, if I can be a resource and help. Ultimately, we want these children to know that they're loved by God, and they've been designed for this reason and purpose. We're there to, with this, to not explain everything under the sun to them. At the same time, too, I really want to provide, I try to do a middle of the road. I try not to understate things. I try to make sure we communicate things clearly, but also want them to not be in a situation, maybe middle school or even into high school, where they're embarrassed in front of friends or something because they didn't know something. Now, obviously, I'm not going to explain every slang term under the sun to them, but hopefully that this can be just a good starting point for them for continued education when it comes to sex and gender and relationships and dating and marriage and all these types of things that God has blessed us with. I want to thank you for watching this video. Again, any questions, please let me know. And I will see your child, your son, in class. Please pray for me as I will be praying for your child and your family as well. Thanks so much. Bye.